Hey guys, what's going on? Rounded TikTak here, and today we are bringing you my first Borderlands video. I didn't want to put out anything until I was very confident in my build or what I was going to tell you guys, as the game's brand new. It's only been out for a week and I wanted to make sure I had it right. We're going to talk about my build, what I use, why I use it, how it's different from other players, especially Flak players, and just what it does. And then we're going to talk about the weapons as well, condense that all down to hopefully like a 10-minute video, and we'll get in it right now. So my build is different. It's not the green tree that most videos are made of. It's not the entire green tree. Yes, it's heavily into the green tree, but we focus more on the red tree here. We are going to use as abilities, we're going to use the elemental spider ant for plus 10 elemental damage, and then we're also be going to using the racks. Racks are fire. That's important. We'll talk about that in a minute. The extra charges and the extra racks. This is our loadout for abilities. Now, the actual perks you pick, these you can change around here and there, but this is what I've found after respecing a million times that I like the best. But we're going to talk about the key points here. Interplanetary Stalker, number 1. This just gives you extra damage to everything, basically, and a different kind of damage or buff in any kind of way. Interplanetary Stalker for this build is fantastic because you're doing a ton of damage. You have very short cooldowns. I mean, very, very short cooldowns, and you're constantly just doing work. This one maxed out. Whenever Flak scores a critical hit, you get a bullet back in the magazine, up to 36% chance to do so. Shotguns, it's fantastic on. Any gun that shoots really fast, it's fantastic on. A lot of the weapons we're going to be using here are AoE based. Head count, we also have when Flak scores a critical hit, there is a chance their action skill cooldown is reduced. This is very important. We're going to be spamming that F key for the racks. As long as they're not targeting us, they can hit up to 22k. They also provide a crowd control on top of that. When the enemies are set on fire, they dance and they're on fire, and they cannot shoot you. It's great to have. Flak has a chance to fire an extra projectile per shot. Two Fang. I have 8 points in this. It's very, very, very good. It's it's fantastic perk. Especially with the weapons we are using, any kind of extra projectile is great for us. Since we're using mainly shotguns and fast firing weapons, it really pays off. The most dangerous game, this one, if you don't want to perk this up and you want to put 3 points somewhere else and you can still fill out this whole tree, feel free to do so. It's a good perk. It's okay. It gives you a ton of damage and has a long amount on it, 120 seconds, 2 minutes, but I think you'd be okay without it if you want to put your perks somewhere else. This one is very important. We're going to talk about this in a second. Flak deals increased critical hit damage, and enemies are less likely to attack them. The crit damage is self-explanatory. The less likely to attack them. I tried to kill myself because I was trying to prove a point to a friend, and I went around and there's a bunch of skags and stuff, and nothing would attack me as long as my pet was up. Legit wouldn't attack me at all. Flak gains increased gun damage and action skill damage. Grim Harvest. A lot of people use the monkey. I use racks. The extra damage, 25%. I'm not going to pass up. That means each rack can hit up to 22k, which they're not as long as they're not targeting you and they crit, it can do 22k. That's 4 racks. That's 80,000 damage. It's a lot. You have 15,000 charges of them. It's really fun. The build really comes into play with Mega Void, able to crit anywhere on the body, 20% chance. We're using guns that have multiple bullets or large area of effects, or things with really fast fire rate, or things with projectiles that pierce targets. All of these things are really important because we're not really aiming for the head, and on top of that, each projectile has a chance to crit. So this perk constantly procs and it does a ton of damage. Over in the green tree, we have Furious Attack, Eager to Impress, which is very, very important. You get extra cooldown timer. Like I said, our racks are going to be on like a 4-second cooldown for the most part. This is just 1 point into here to unlock this. You do not need this. I personally enjoyed this perk. My pet revives me constantly. I think it's very overrated, especially if you're trying to do the end game challenges where you're not supposed to die and your team is under fire. While moving, Flak constantly regenerates health and damage reduction. While fighting, Flak gains, or while standing still, gun damage and fire rate. This is more like a sniper perk, but in reality, you're going to be constantly running. Why not take the extra damage reduction and health regeneration. It's a really good perk to have. Lastly, we have 3 points into Fast and Furious, the gun damage 33%, and the movement speed 13.3. You are so fast with this build, constantly regenerating health. You have bonus gun damage. You have a ton of critical hit chance and critical hit damage. This perk is fantastic. And the last one, we had 3 extra points to spend when an enemy has no target or is attacking a different target. This couples with this perk where your pet takes more aggro than you do, allows you to do a lot more damage. Now, I'm not saying my build is the best build in the game. In fact, I know it's probably not. For boss killing and stuff like that, it's not that great. But what it does do really, really well is it creates crowd control with the fire on the racks. You do a ton of AoE damage. You can just press F and just shoot at something else while your racks go target something. Your pet gives you 10% extra elemental damage. So that means on all the weapons I'm about to show you, you get extra 10% damage. So let's get into the weapons right now. The weapons I choose to use on this build there's a couple of them. So you do know that Flak is into crit damage. You know he's one of the best late game characters in the game for doing damage. This is how I ended up building him. So we're gonna take a look. I found this in a chest like right as I hit 50, and I am so glad I did. It is such a powerful weapon. I might make a video just on this weapon because I don't see it being talked about enough. The Flacker, and this one is Radiation, which is incredible. I've been offered multiple times to trade this weapon. People would give up their entire inventories for it. The Radiation gives you extra damage on everything because it acts like slag in Borderlands 3. It has 210 splash damage. It consumes ammo per shot. It does a ton of work. It creates a huge AoE cloud of damage and just really hits hard. Each one of those has a chance to crit and just absolutely destroy stuff. This I just found that I've been playing with another AoE weapon. This is, you know, kind of like a shotgun, but it's technically an assault rifle. You get up close, all of these pellets have a chance to crit. They do a ton of damage. They do damage to you. Speed loading Hellwalker is another weapon that I've been playing around with that's fantastic. You get down and out and you're close to something, just one shot. Every shot you have a chance to not consume your ammo, and you can get like 8, 10, 15 shots in a row sometimes if you're lucky, as long as you're scoring those critical hits. And you can do stuff like that. But since you can crit on anywhere in the body, it happens a lot more often. Another weapon I want to make sure we talk about is the Binary Cutsman. The Binary Cutsman is gross. Since you have that perk that allows you to shoot extra projectiles, you can really see it show up here. You'll see a lot more 2 lines than just the normal 1s. You see it up there? And this thing pierces. So each time it pierces, it can crit. It can go through multiple enemies and crit all of them at the same time. And one last thing I want to mention about the build is some of this stuff here. So our shield is called the CQC Red Suit. It gives us 100 resistance to radiation damage. So that's why my Radiation Flacker comes into play so hardcore, because normally this would do damage to you as any other character without that perk. Another thing to talk about is the grenade I use, and it is the Pipe Bomb. You get it from a mission in Eden 6 from Claptrap, the place where Clay hangs out. This, again, since I'm immune to radiation damage, does no damage to me, allowing me to stay. Basically, if I do this, I will kill everything and nothing will be able to kill me, and I just do a ton of AoE damage, crit all the time. It's a lot of fun to do. And then down here we have the Atom Bomb Commander Planetoid. Radiation efficiency, aura damage. That's from, again, the Flacker. Aura burst damage, aura burst radius. Deals 69% bonus elemental damage whenever you melee an enemy, even though I don't melee ever. But then the perks we have are pretty good too. 17% heavy damage, 29 incinerary resistance, and then 16% corrosive damage. Enhances the radiation status effect aura, making it larger and more deadly. So again, these grenades and the shotgun just do absolute work. Let's jump into something and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So let's jump in here. Let's just see what it does. We'll show you the flak first. No big deal. This is Mayhem 3. And this is radiant resistant too, so you have to remember this does even more damage on a normal mission, but this is Mayhem 3. I feel like Mayhem 3, it's more dependent on the modifiers you get than your build, but the Fl4K chews things apart. All right, we got a Spider Ant Warrior. Almost one-shot it. Almost one-shot it with the Fl4K. Shot, almost kill him. Let's check out the grenade work. The pipe bomb is so gross. Look at that. It's done. There, you can see me shoot multiple. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man, it's so strong. It is so strong. We got Inferno Badness. All right, so we're not going to use this. Let's try the regular pistol here. One-shot it. 24K. On top of that, if you unlock the first Badass perk, which gives you an explosion, on a kill with a critical hit, that explosion can crit as well, allowing for some crazy damage. 64K. Ow. Alright guys, that's a look at my Fl4K build, Aoe Fl4K. I really enjoy playing this. Like you can see, it works perfectly in Mayhem 3, nothing to it. Just make sure you are using your Fl4Ks on cooldown constantly and just doing a bunch of little AoE damage. Kill the small stuff while you focus the big stuff down with AoE weapons like the Fl4K. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this kind of content. I'd be glad to make it. If you guys like streams, I stream 5 days a week over at twitch.tv/roundedtiktak. We would love to have you stop by, come join us. And lastly, if you're using any kind of purchase on Epic Games Store, you can always use creator code OO TikTak OO. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. TikTak out.